More now of my conversation with Donald Trump, beginning with Iraq. You've said many times that you opposed George W. Bush's Iraq war. But you said this in 2004, more than a year in, when it was pretty clear the occupation was a mess. Did you oppose the war before the invasion in March of 2003?
Yes, I opposed it all the time.
Is there a record of that?
You have to understand, probably, but listen, you have to understand, when I opposed it, I was a business guy, not a people aren't.
You weren't required to make a public statement.
Could you do me a favor and make a statement? I wasn't a politician, but it was lucky in a way because I found a big article in Reuters, 2004, in July, headline, Trump opposes the war. I also was, about 2 years before that, I totally opposed the war because I said it's going to destabilize the Middle East and Iran will take over because they always fought. Those two fought for years, Iran and Iraq.
I'm not questioning your feelings on it, but it doesn't seem to be any public record.
Look, it made sense. And by the way, when the World Trade Center was knocked down, they didn't send their families back to Iraq. They sent their families to Saudi Arabia.
But you would agree it's easier to be publicly critical of the war once the war became a quagmire.
Well, I was publicly, I mean, you saw my statements when the war was a big hot thing and everybody was for it, including Hillary Clinton, including the Bushes and everybody else. Everybody, I'm the only one that was opposed to it. And by the way, I'm more militaristic than anybody on that dais, that I can tell you. But you have to know when to use it. And you have to build a military that's strong so you don't have to use it. Right now, we don't know what we're doing. Our military is in shambles. The general who just retired, who's a very good man, said, we are the least prepared in the history of our country militarily. That was a pretty big statement, and it didn't get much coverage, which is amazing. He said, we are the least prepared. That's a terrible statement, especially now, because I think we have just about bigger problems now than we've ever had before. So we will do a great job. If I get the opportunity to serve, we will do a great job, and I will do it for $0. I told somebody the other day, they said, do you want the money? I said, absolutely not. Aside from funding my own campaign, this is not a very profitable situation.
Right.
I'm funding my own campaign, and I want nothing when I win.
The press went kind of haywire when you told Chuck Todd that if my numbers go south, I'll go back to my business. Now, I agree that you were just kind of stating the obvious, but there were a lot of commentators who said, this shows he's not in it for the long term, he's going to bail out soon, he's just flirting with this. What was your reaction to that kind of commentary?
Well, it's just dishonest press. He asked me a very good question. He said, is there any time that you would maybe get out? And I understand that question. So instead of saying it, like for instance, if you ask Rand Paul or one of these guys right now, who's going to get out? If you ask one of these guys, they'll say, absolutely not, I'm running, and then 2 weeks later they'll get out. Okay. I believe in being honest. So I said, look, Chuck, if for any reason I start doing terribly in the polls, you don't call me, Howie doesn't call me, nobody calls me, I'm dying here and I'm not going to make it, I would get out. It ends up being a headline, Trump maybe leaves the... I said, that's so unfair. My wife actually thought it was an amazing answer because you don't hear that answer. So I gave a truthful answer.
Politicians say they're not getting out until the day they get out.
Let me tell you, you know what I'll say to you? I'm not getting out. I'm not going. I'm going to win it, and I'm not getting out, okay?
Okay, there's our headline.
Because that way there can't be any dispute.
I also asked Donald Trump a more personal question. We'll have that for you later in the program. Up next, Carly Fiorina accuses the Washington Post of being out to get her. And later, the press pounces on a report that Joe Biden leaked a heartrending story about himself.